What's going on, folks? I am Goat, and welcome back to Warframe. This is going to be a little bit of a different kind of vlog setup here. I am kind of tired of doing vlogs by myself. Tired of playing with myself, right? So I've got Cheese God, aka Mr. Big Papa Joe himself, and then I've got Monster, also known as Matt. So if you hear Matt in there, that's who we were talking about. Yeah, so, because I've never actually I don't think I've ever called you Matt on a stream, by the way. I don't really think I have. I've always said Monster. Yeah,
Calling that a few times.
I don't know if I've done it on stream, though, honestly. I'm usually like, Monster, come over here. So, you just posted a video about taking everything with a grain of salt, right? And don't put stock in the salty videos. And we are going to try our best to not be excessively salty with this video. And why I say we're going to try our best with this is very simple. Something really dumb happened today, and it actually technically happened last Thursday before I shot the last video, but for some reasons, Digital Extremes just hid this shit from everybody. So unless you watch Prime Time, which not everybody's got time to sit there and just watch Twitch and jerk off to it, okay? And not everybody has time to sit here and chase through the forums with weird hidden shit that's sometimes hiding in here. Sometimes you just kind of miss stuff, right? Like sometimes you just miss it because it's not obvious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this first and foremost. So obviously we see Stynex. I was bitching about all the nerfs about Stynex, politely bitching, but bitching nonetheless because D, for the love of fucking Christ, stop nerfing this frame. He's not that great anyway. Come on, he's fun. He's not amazing. So here we are in our little news section. And yes, the guys in Discord can see exactly what you guys are seeing right now. I am screen sharing to them so they can see everything that I'm doing. The last thing that Digital Extremes released to the news for community, and I'll even hit the little stupid little community tab if I can. Here we go. News. Okay, so community, right? Twitch drops 6 days ago. What the stream schedule? Okay, cool. 44 days ago, have your dojo showcased on the store chart, whatever. 9 days ago, Veilbreaker hotfix 0.6 hit, which is fine. That was the last update that's hit. So we're okay with this, right? But did anybody notice a weird fucking thing before I came up to this stupid teleportation panel? There's a little yellow waypoint right here, right? I don't know if anybody else is getting annoyed by seeing this, but
Yep.
Yeah, so Joe's like, yep. This is obviously pointing at Call's base. So, just for frame of reference, the date is 9/26 and it is 12:17 a.m. Central Time in the United States. At this point, Call's garrison, or what is now being known as Call's Break-Narmer missions, whatever, it's Call's missions at this point. Call's over here jerking off to daughter, who cares? Come on, man, they're fucking, ain't nobody tripping on this. So, we come over here and we're expecting yellow waypoint says, hey, go see Call. So we go see Call. Guess what? All the fucking missions are done.
Call
Why is
like
this?
little flying guy. Talk lots, though.
Call like little flying guy. He's talking
Good
about
working
Orbis.
with Tenno.
Anyway, so the yellow waypoint says, hey, you need to go see Call because there's a mission to be done. All right. Now, I showed this shit to Joe before Matt came in, and then I let Matt read through this too. So here's what they did, okay? And I even showed the bigger what the fuck behind this to Joe, and even Joe was like, what the hell? There's a forum post in the middle of somewhere. I got a direct link on Reddit to this, which is the only way I even know it exists. Okay? Y'all can just pause this motherfucking video and read this, but basically they have extended the time frame for the next Call mission to September 28th. Oh my god, Chipper's talking. Make him stop. Oh no, that's not Chipper, that's that fucking broken Ostron guy that's cooking soup. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so anyway. So they've extended it from the 26th to the 28th. That doesn't sound that bad, but technically it's supposed to hit on the 25th. So this is annoying. So they're cutting half of the Call's Break-Narmer mission completely out because they have to fix stuff. And what they're trying to fix is they're trying to make it to where you don't have to do everything in one run in the mission because it is kind of a pain in the butt. I pointed that out with the sneaky sabotage. Joe and Matt both agreed that the sneaky sabotage stuff was just so obtuse, I think, and so convoluted trying to find shit. Like, you guys were both complaining about that just like I was.
Yeah, I didn't even do them all.
Yeah.
I got tired of trying to find everything.
Yeah.
Did it.
Yeah, because unless it was the unless it was the gene stamp, the little dog tag ones. There was no waypoints, there was no nothing. And the first day, the K-Drive parts weren't even illuminated. So it's like you couldn't even find the fucking things. You know, like I think the Vox Solaris people, or the Solaris United people, I think those were the easiest thing to find. Because they were just dudes just standing there staring at a wall. Like you were half expecting to see some robo dick and their fucking hand jerking off or something. I don't know. But I mean, they were like the easiest thing to find out of everything. But no, Matt went into it and he was just like, okay, well, the 15 minutes isn't that bad. If I remember right, you said the 15 minutes wasn't that bad and the not dying wasn't that bad, but finding all the extra crap was annoying as fuck because it wasn't really obvious.
Yeah, I mean, the first round took me about half an hour because I was trying to discern the deacons' patterns, so I knew when to go, when not to go. So once I realized the timing of the environment, I was able to knock it down before 15 minutes. But yeah, like you were saying about the illumination of the parts, yeah, they were a bitch to find.
Yeah. Yeah, and even when they did the K-Drive parts, because of some of their locations, I mean, I don't think anybody could disagree. Some of the spots they put those damn things in were fucking stupid. Like up on top of a fucking container rail in front of a window that unless you were really looking for that bitch, like you really had to go climbing like a fucking, like a spider monkey to find half this shit. You know, it's just like, okay, whatever. So but what they're doing is they're trying to make that a little bit more fluid. But in turn, instead of just doing a hot fix for when the next call mission releases, so on October 2nd, when the next call mission releases, instead of just preparing a patch note and a hot fix, so let's call it hot fix 0.7, and looping the Archons into the present Nightwave and Steel Path Honors and like everybody else's fucking time, which is how they loop it. It's basically, at least for us, we're all in Central Time US. So for us, it's 7 p.m. On Sunday every week. That's when the schedule restarts for us. Every fucking week, 7 p.m. on Sunday until it's winter time and then it's 6 p.m. because, you know, daylight savings time is a bitch. So they're trying to loop the Archon hunts because the big massive complaint about the Archon hunts is that they start in the middle of the fucking week. They hit Wednesday in the afternoon. So like everybody's like, well, bro, I'm working. Why can't you do this on the weekend like everything else and then give us time to, you know, kind of nibble at it throughout the week and then finish it off at the end of the week when we have time? Okay, fair enough. So that's what they're doing. So regardless of what they're doing, the Archon hunt is getting cut short this week to get it looped into the proper cycle. That I get. But why? Oh, why? Can they not just loop the patch fix into the fucking next week instead of cutting half of a week of the call's mission short? Just for no apparent fucking reason other than, hey, we're just going to fuck you up and put Archons and call on the same 4-day time schedule.
And the other thing is okay, I'm fine with them doing that. All right, I understand the point behind it. Cutting it short, trying to get it done, trying to make the fix, trying to make the game better.
Yeah.
But why hide this shit? That's my biggest thing with DE. And as you know, from a new player aspect, why hide the shit? Just put it in the fucking community tab or the fucking news saying, look, this is what we're fucking doing. We're trying to fix this. We're doing our best, blah, 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 you know, and be done with it.
Yeah, and just for reference, so like, I started playing the game, like I've said, March 4th of 2020. Monster started playing the game March 11th of 2020. Joe started playing, I want to say the second week of October of 2021.
Yeah,
So,
I'm coming up 1 year.
Yeah. He's like basically over 11 months. He's like 11 and a half months in the game right now. Somewhere in that realm. So he's got a pretty new perspective of the game. And that's kind of where we're going with this, okay? Because this is problem number one. They want feedback from the community about stuff, but then they hide this crap. So then we're like all excited. Sunday comes around. We're like, okay, hey, what's the new call mission? Oh, I apparently just jerked my dick off for nothing on this. Because I just went and visited call and this is already done. Why is this done? Where do I find out why this is done? I had to go to fucking Reddit to find out why it was done. Because I don't have time, because I have a fucking family, and even though I'm a cripple, I do have a life. I'm not sitting here fucking jerking off to Twitch waiting for a fucking Warframe video to pop up. Sorry.
I mean, I don't. Even on the Thursday fucking Twitch stream.
Yeah, the prime time.
I can't just sit there and watch the whole damn thing. I catch bits and pieces of it. I have it playing.
Yeah.
But I can't just sit there. I've got shit to do around my house. You know,
well,
I mean,
what's the primary reason why we all watch aside from TennoCon? What is the primary reason why we all watch the fucking Twitch streams? Because we don't really watch them, huh?
Get the drop.
Exactamundo, the fucking drops. We don't give a fuck what's actually said in that shit. Nobody does, because we don't care about somebody else playing the fucking game. We're just there to get whatever free shit they're giving us.
Right.
Even at that, and I know it's mentioned, about free shit, but even the last one, I still haven't gotten the fuck bag that I claimed.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So, but talking about the feedback, right? So Joe understands. I think Matt, I think you're probably at the same level because for you, the change will actually be more beneficial for the Archon hunt, especially being on the normal rotation of everything else, because it gives you more time to dick with it, I think. I mean, the grand scheme, it's really not going to change for you because of your work schedule. It's really going to kind of be the same because you can't really touch it until like, Saturday anyway.
Right, and you mentioned about my work schedule many, many times on your channel,
Yeah.
and this kind of give your viewers a bit of a context of my work schedule. I work at an automotive assembly industrial plant. I work anywhere from 10 to 11 hours a day, between the hours of 6 p.m. to 5:30 a.m.
Sometimes
And
whenever the fuck you're allowed to leave.
exactly. And sometimes I also have mandatory overtime on Saturdays. So, folks, I don't have a whole lot of time to play this game. The only time I got is on the weekends.
Yeah, I will say it's quite deceptive how much time you guys actually see Matt in here with me in these videos, because I actually wait to try to make sure that I've got everybody as much as possible in the videos. So you guys might think that we're all sitting here playing every night, but most of the videos that I shoot, except for the solo stuff that I'm doing, is literally on a Saturday or a Sunday. Sometimes a Monday. Monday is usually when we're doing our fuck around night, not really doing a whole lot of anything.
And also keep in mind, I'm a lot like Goat. I got family. I'm a family man. I spend time with the family. I have my own stuff, take care around the house. I'm working a lot, sleeping, and I also participate in a sim racing series for Twitch that also takes priority over Warframe. I am sorry to all those people that say Warframe is life. Warframe ate my life.
Yeah, no.
And
Well, dude, hell, my fucking video last night is a perfect example of that. Like I said, I don't knock anybody for whatever they find to be what's the best thing for them. It's like I said about TheSallaD. TheSallaD likes more PvP, and the Conclave and Warframe sucks, so he plays more Destiny than he does Warframe.
right,
It's
and
understandable.
I'm not saying Warframe is bad. I still love Warframe. I still love the game. I love the story behind it. I just have other things that take priority over it, especially when it comes to World of Gaming, because for one, I'm actually getting somewhat paid to do the racing stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of a thing. Money's money. We can't really be mad at
Right.
that.
Oh, shit.
But I've also been in sim racing for 17 years, so you
Right. So we're kind of all in this understanding of we get why they're doing it. It's kind of being dumb about how they're doing it. But this active waypoint thing, I hope like fuck that's going to be in the fix of that going away once you've completed the mission, because that is so fucking annoying. That was like when the update hit, when they did the whole represent a syndicate. Well, if you don't want to do syndicates yet because you're low level, that waypoint just sits there in your fucking cockpit like an asshole.
Yep.
It's fucking stupid. Like,
That's why half the time I don't even run the drifter camp. I run fucking the orbiter because I get tired of seeing that waypoint all the time.
right? Yeah.
granted, I have no experience at all in game development. I don't know what all goes on, but all I'm going to say is I do know that gaming is all based on coding.
Yeah.
So in my suggestion, there should be ways to code things in a certain way to where if you're below a certain rank and you can't do syndicates yet, then it doesn't pop up. But once you hit the minimum rank, where it be 7, 8, 9, 10, it could be,
yeah,
5, the
yeah.
coding will kick in, and then boom, there you go. There's your waypoint for your syndicates.
Yeah, see, I kind of tend to agree. Like, I think, like the Plains of Eidolon, the Plains of Eidolon are a dangerous place for a lot of low-level players to go, because Vomvalis like to fucking blow you away in one shot. Eidolons like to stomp you, and of course, most, curious players are like dumbass cats. They're like, oh, look, a big stompy thing. I want to be friends with it. Boom, he shot a missile up my ass. What the fuck? So it's just like, the Plains of Eidolon are really dangerous for low-level players. So I think, like, nighttime of Plains of Eidolon should have a little bit of a restriction to lower-level players, so it doesn't get so confusing that they just don't ever want to go back, because Eidolon hunts are important.
Or at least give you a warning if you're at a certain level, like the
yeah, if you go out here, you're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think same thing though. Like syndicates, I think syndicates, truthfully, yes, people love augment mods, and that's all fine and dandy. But a lot of people, like I said in the video the last video that I posted, a lot of people, until they get upwards of about the new war, don't really have a great understanding on how to build frames. Like I've sat down with Joe for hours breaking down, and this is no knock to Joe, because Joe's just absorbed the info and kind of used it in his own methods. But breaking down like how to balance builds on Warframes. You know, because I like Joe when he first started, he was like, "What the fuck does all this shit do?" Which is pretty a stereotypical fucking response for a new player in this game. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? You know,
Yeah, and they don't, you know, I mean, it's not like a lot of games where, you know, their tutorials will tell you fucking, you know, hey, this is what this is for and shit. They don't really do that too much.
Well, see, like, okay, so I'll show on my screen here. Like, there is a thing, okay? There is a thing that I know somebody at some point will come back and probably see this video and be like,
Hold on 1 second. Go back up there. Have you ever noticed the fucking piece or the back up to calls?
oh,
Have you noticed the fucking? I'm calling it a bug, but when you start to walk away from his decoration thing,
okay.
you'll get a pop up. Just walk back the other way. You'll get one of them little pop ups.
Oh,
right there.
fuck me.
There's nothing there. It just takes you to the Archon hunt. But why?
Why
not
is there
put
nothing
something
there? Yeah, that's
Why not put something there that, you know? Hey, look. Here's
that's
a
fucking
quick way to get
goofy.
to the Archon hunt.
That is goofy as shit.
Just to see.
Bro, make your stew. All right, make your stew. Stop talking to me. I don't even know you. I rescued you. Oh my god, he's over here stirring. Okay, so, all right, so there is a thing, right? Like if you go into equip, a lot of people don't even notice this, but if you go into equip, there's a tutorial tab down here, right? So tutorial tells you upgrades and mods, right? Gives you basics of upgrades and mods. It gives you, you know, more information. Seek the old ways. It's like story-based, you know, auto-equips function, which God help you, don't ever really use auto-equip. It's useless. You know, it tells you statistics of how mods work, you know, fusion and all this. But again, most people aren't looking at this.
No.
Most people don't even know that that is there. Like, if you're on a fucking controller, like I'm holding right here, who sees that? When I move the joystick around, that goes completely away. So any controller players, any console players, that's not even there. But if you do mouse, boom, there's a tutorial right motherfucking here. So like console players and controller players like myself, because I have, you know, we've talked about it before, I have dexterity problems. But console players and controller players don't even have the access to that tutorial in the proper fashion. You have to go under tips. Like, legit, when you do it, you have to go under tips. And then there's a few extra things in here. Like, RTs, gives you basics. That's it. So it's like, a lot of people don't even notice the tutorial thing. I only ever caught it once I was like Mastery 18, when I accidentally bumped my keyboard tray. Like that, actually. I just bumped my keyboard tray and it popped up. So, but yeah, like, there's a tutorial there, but it's questionable information at best. So, back to what we were talking about, though, like, I really wanted to get the perspective. Like, I wanted to point out the whole break, you know, the break armor thing and the Archons being, you know, whipped into the proper cycle. But the other thing I wanted to point out, and this is a thing that me and Joe and Matt have talked about quite an extensive level, is DE's level of absorbing community feedback. Because,
oh my God.
Right, exactly. See, we already know where this is going. When Joe says, "Oh my God, this is good," yeah, this shit's about to get real. So I've pulled up 3 specific ones, and we're not even going to go and look at the posts. We're just going to look at the titles of the post, because believe me, 90% of the time that is more than enough. But before I even go to look at them, guys, how much in your present experience, Monster, you've got 2.5 years in this game like me. Joe, you've got almost a year in this game. How much does DE actually listen to the majority of the community when they do something silly?
Not.
Do you want my honest opinion or my cordial version of it?
Let's go for cordial.
Selective.
Very okay. I see. I like that answer.
Deletation. They love to fucking delete shit. Your comments.
Yeah. See, like, again, we'll look at the frame that I just had. This guy, Styanex, right? How much fun was Styanex in the first 4 fucking hotfixes?
A blast.
absolutely fucking hilariously fun to play. Was he a bullet sponge in his fourth ability and had the capability of dying frequently while flying around throwing spears? Absolutely he was. But goddamn, was it fun to sit there and cast abilities while you're doing ghost spears everywhere.
Yeah, that was. Well, I think when he come out, he was one of the funnest frames I've played since I started.
Dude, you and me were crying. Come on, let's we were laughing so fucking hard. We were fucking bawling our eyes out laughing. Okay, we were.
I almost fell out of my chair twice.
Dude, yeah, we were fucking having a blast. Now, Joe and I talked about this a bunch with Rally Point, right? Like we talked about Rally Point and about what they did with what they considered to be a buff to Rally Point, and me and Joe were both like, "What? How is this a buff?" So I talked about it in the video, but I'm going to go over it with you guys here, like, because I haven't really talked to Matt about it so much. So Rally Point, with my present build, okay, it has a duration of 38.25 seconds, a radius of 52.5 meters, so this covers a shit ton of fucking squad members within that range. It's a pretty good size range. And it's every time anybody gets a fucking kill, 106.25 shields per kill added until you hit your shield cap, right? Plus an energy gain of 6.38 per kill. That's my build. But my build is a strength duration build, right? Which is really, in my opinion, the better route to go for him. You know, you don't need, or I'm sorry, this is the strength range build. I'm sorry, I have the wrong fucking mod equipped. Hold on. That's the build. Strength duration. Sorry. Moderate range, because the range is actually pretty forgiving with Stynex. But strength duration. So this is the build that I've been primarily dicking with. I don't know why. Let's just move that config A because I'm stupid. So this is a pretty powerful build as far as armor stripping, as far as the basically all four of his abilities. It's a pretty powerful fucking build, but the energy regen is still really good. It's 6.3, 43 seconds long, 45.45 seconds long, with a radius of 43 meters and 105 shields per kill. Pretty fucking nice, you know, and a 6.3 energy regen per kill. Like that. I like that a lot. The problem is now, first of all, they nerfed the fourth ability, so now you can't even cast the third ability while you're in the fourth ability. Secondly, you cannot ever cancel out of the fourth ability, so you're always a flying bullet sponge, no matter what. So you have to fucking let the time lapse of this thing, which is, it's this.
The system continues
Thanks,
to fall
Lotus.
into
Wasn't
chaos.
talking. Fuck you,
Check
bitch.
Navigation for active invasions.
You cunt. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, but like, everybody, like, let's just pay attention here. Number of javelins, 45. Does anybody see duration on here? Because I sure don't. It's just, it runs and it stops, but you can't cancel out of it. So like, if you need to cast another ability, you're fucked. You just get fucked. But you can't, you can't do Thera. Yeah, it just runs.
It runs until you run out of fucking
spears.
Yeah.
So, but you can't cast another Axios Javelin, you can't cast Arrow Strike, you can't cast Rally Point, which being able to do all three was very, very helpful to keeping him alive and keeping him from, you know, dying. But now, with being stuck in this animation, not being able to cast anything else to help support the frame, now you're literally just stuck. So if you basically aim at one group of enemies, then get fucked, because if there's any enemies that spawn behind you, you're gonna fucking die. You're gonna get 50 bullets up your ass and be bleeding out through your anus. Bad deal. So, Matt, here's the thing that they nerfed about Rally Point, though. So, I have a 45-second duration build with Rally Point, right? So, 45.45 seconds. So 35.45 seconds of this build will be mine, no matter what I do when I cast Rally Point. It will aggro enemies to me as long as I have a higher strength build than anybody else. It will give the best energy regen if everybody else has a weaker build. It gives a really good radius, so on and so forth, right? Here comes the problem. If you got a guy who's focused on very little ability strength and focused more on just building overshield solely, he'll have weaker stats to this ability. The moment this fucking ability hits 10 seconds, if another person with a lower strength build casts, it overwrites my build. They call this a buff. Like, how much does that make sense? If somebody with a weaker build than me comes in and casts Rally Point within the last 10 seconds of the existence of my ability being cast, it overwrites whatever my ability cast is, because I'm not going to sit there and recast over top of somebody else just to get my shit back. I'm not going to waste energy doing it. Granted, I'll energy regen, but it's stupid to have to do that, which is what they're forcing us to do. They're forcing us to use more energy to overcast over people. So it's like, I get 35 seconds of guaranteed my build's going to do its job unless somebody else has a better build, which is fine. But if somebody with, like, you know, let's say just a base 100% ability strength comes in and they cast Rally Point, all of a sudden, if it's like 9.8 seconds left until my ability runs out, their Rally Point, whatever their duration is probably going to be very long, because shield gate builds will be, because they're going to be focused on building shields off of that ability. I'm going to lose energy regen. I'm going to lose duration. There's not going to be near as much radius, so I'll get hit by it, but then I'll lose the radius attachment, more than likely. So it's like the weaker build's going to overwrite what the fuck my build's doing, what I'm intending the frame to do for me. But they call that a buff. Like, I think it's fucking insane.
Well, and the other thing I don't understand, all right, look, you put so much time into research and development to make these frames, right? They spend months upon months. Why is it that they release a frame and then within the first 2 weeks they fucking nerf the hell out of it and make it worse than what it was when they actually put it out?
Well, see, like, Geyer is really... I think Geyer is the queen of what the fuck were they thinking? Because the Angels of Zariman hit, Geyer hit. Geyer was OP as fuck for literally 30 hours. Geyer made Volt look like a bitch, made most map wipers look like a bitch. Because as long as you had exceptionally high ability strength and exceptionally high ability range, you were literally causing like a volcanic thunderstorm everywhere in the map. You know, like, I'm sure you guys have seen videos of volcano eruptions or just lightning everywhere. That's what Geyer did with her fourth ability. You hit one enemy, as long as you crit him, bang, 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 there's fucking lightning everywhere. They took that completely off. Now it's just like this random lightning bolt occasionally that hits, and she has no survivability built into her fucking kit. So it's like she went from nothing can touch me because it's all being electrocuted to death to fuck you, I'm gonna sit here and just bleed out and die. And I've already run with Geyers and Archon hunts that keep continually getting downed because they like the frame and they like the abilities, but they can't stay alive because they have nothing on the fucking frame for survivability. So it is what it is.
That's the whole point. I mean, look, you've got mods and stuff to build your frames the way you want to build them, right? But if you're gonna come out with the frame and make it like Geyer or make it like Steinex, to where, you know, Steinex is a fun frame to run. You can do lots of damage with them built right. Why nerf the shit and make it even harder for a player to try to mod it up and figure it out?
You remember what I said when Steinex came out? Don't worry about dropping Formal on him yet, because I'm gonna put the Formal on him because they're probably gonna fuck with him. Remember that? And what'd they do? What they fucking do, man. So, but here's the thing. Like you said, the whole research and development, and then they put the frames out and then they nerf it, right? So this is why I will put a guy's name out there. I've said his name before, actually, in the last video. I said his name, Nightmare Frame. He's one of the guys that is like an advocate, an absolute advocate for Warframe to actually do test servers. Because he's one of those guys that can break a game. Like him, Brozyme, the Kingineer, Pupsker, Neoness, a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys can do some shit in this game that can literally bug the game out, break the game, wig shit out. But in my opinion, it's not the fact of them breaking stuff. It's a fact of these guys know how to mod stuff insanely enough to where they can show digital extremes where the frame can be overpowered and stronger than what they want it to be before ever releasing it to the public. That way you don't have the nerfs. We never know what the hell's going on. You know, give these guys 2 weeks with any fucking frame, and these guys will figure out how to fucking bug a frame out and literally just destroy a fucking map. And then DE can kind of cap it to a more reasonable level of at least keeping it challenging. That's that's where I agree with Nightmare Frames, that, you know, like they say test servers aren't something that they can handle. And the problem is that we're going to continually keep seeing nerfs and then buffs on weird ass frames for no fucking reason. You know, or buffed augment mods, like Frost's augment mod. It's absolutely fucking useless unless you fucking put thermal sunder on him, because his bubbles are stupid. His snow globes are absolutely dumb. Whatever. But that's why it happens, because they don't have legitimate test servers. They're the only test servers that they have are for their content creators only, and those test servers only cover a 48-hour period. Now, what the fuck is anybody going to tell anybody about a 48-hour period?
You're not.
Yeah.
I mean, you need at least a good week to 2 weeks to figure everything out.
Exactly. Wholeheartedly agree. So we're going to look at feedback of forums, okay? Now, all I covered previously was ammo changes, but after seeing the whole break armor change, I wanted to kind of look at other things like the Archon hunts and the break armor missions and so on. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at Archon hunts. So, so obviously, anybody seeing this, I mean, the guys can see this too, but this is from Warframe's page. You guys can see Warframe up there, blah, blah, blah. He touched the button account because apparently I can't ever log in with my own primary account now for some reason. They hate me, whatever. It's because I said dirty things like piss poor. Oh my God. I've seen people say way worse in here. So anyway, again, this is going across multiple platforms. I mean, we're talking Xbox, PC, PlayStation. I've seen a couple of Nintendo Switch on a few of these. Everybody, every fucking platform's got something to say about this. This guy, stop balancing. You got to stop balancing around the top end. Basically meaning that they're saying you got to stop. What their complaint with this post is the attenuation DPS cutoff with the Archons themselves. Now, I've run the Archons solo. I've run the Archons with published squads, and then I've also run the Archons with my guys here in the clan. And the guys can vouch that the worst of them as of yet, I think, is Naira.
Yeah.
And it's like Boreal is just basically a bullet sponge. That's just what he is. Amar is an annoying bullet sponge. And then Naira shows up and she's healing every time she talks and procs somebody or turns someone to stone. So it's like a 10-minute goddamn fight unless you get a lucky shot off at something that isn't even told to you as possible until you figure it out for yourself. Which is fine. I'm okay with learning things. That's the challenge that we've talked about before. But this guy's basically complaining about the attenuation DPS basically being so goddamn high that lower level players can't fucking kill the Archons, and I agree. I think I think if a game design in itself, if somebody believes that putting attenuation into any boss fight whatsoever is a good idea, I think they need to go to AA. You know, I really do. I think they need to put down the bottle. I think they need to go, you know, find Jesus. And I think they need to fucking literally sober the fuck up and clean up. Because attenuation is basically a cutoff. That's all it is. It's just a damage per second cutoff. Attenuation is basically saying you can hit me this hard and no harder. So,
well, the other thing is, all right, now they just did it with the Void Fishers, right? You have base star chart, with, you know, your lower level players can go do Void Fishers and run through them, and you know, like me, rank 20, you a legendary 2, Matt legendary,
almost legendary 2. He's almost there.
Yeah, we run through the base star chart Fishers like they're nothing. I mean, you know, we tend to get them done in a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Yep.
Then they come out where, you know, you can do it on the steel path, which is more challenging for the upper level players.
Yeah, and
why not do the same damn thing for the Archon hunts? If you're gonna put it out there, then why not do the same thing? If you're gonna make them challenging, but you want to focus on the lower level, then make a lower level one and then put the steel path one in there for the higher levels.
Yeah. I don't, you know, and honestly, I don't disagree. I think personally, like this week's Archon hunt with Naira, I think this week's Archon hunt really gave us something that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting another fucking mobile defense or another rescue or another capture or some stupid shit, you know, some random ass, you know, just fly by, get the mission done. Because the first week was a mobile defense. The second week, I can't even remember what the one for Amar was. But the mobile defense was a pain in the ass, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with that challenge, right? I'm fine with the challenge, but the problem is the second mission, the first 2 weeks was a meandering, drunken ass fucking dude walking around, not following anybody, defense.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fucking annoying. Oh my fucking God, that was so fucking annoying. Trying to fucking chase this asshole down and revive him. I'm running in there with a wisp, knowing that I was literally going to have to stand still next to this dude, which is the one thing you don't ever do in Steel Path level content, is literally stand still and become a bullet sponge, because you're going to die. And you basically have to stand there with your wisp and just basically tell your party, hey, y'all get ready to revive me because I'm keeping this asshole alive. You know, because that's what you have to do, because he just keeps roaming everywhere.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, if you're running it solo, trying to keep up with him plus kill everything, you know,
God be with you. Yeah.
And then, you know, the whole no self-revive,
Yes.
that just makes it even, you know, you've got to run them with the squad.
Yeah, well, and see, like, I think that's what their idea behind it was. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the whole not being able to self-revive. I think limited self-revives is probably a good idea because it gives you the incentive of staying the fuck alive.
Well, they have it limited on everything else. I mean, you can only self-revive yourself 4 times in any other mission.
Unless you have a legendary arcane. If you have a legendary arcane, then you get a +1 arcane revive, which means you can revive up to 6 times.
Okay, so, well, I'm looking at from lower level.
No, I hear you. I was just clarifying the extra. So like, think of it this way. Like, if you're doing the Archon hunts and you already have the Archon hunts, if you're doing the Archon hunts and you have 2 revives, does that incentivize you to try to do it solo by yourself? You know, like just to jump into a solo mission to see if you can handle it?
Well, I mean, I would, but I don't think on a standpoint from a lot of people, I don't think they would. Just because that, you know, the Archon hunts have been in so far, you know, the hardest ones to do next to a sortie.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, truthfully, I think sortie is kind of pale in comparison to these days. So like the defense, I haven't found a person yet that likes the defense because of the meandering mechanic of the weird dude that you have to fucking keep alive. But then we come across the interception of this week. Now, as insane as that was, tell me that wasn't challenging and fun.
Oh, it was. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
Matt was jumping around like a fucking crazy person, dude. He was just blowing motherfuckers up everywhere. It was great. Joe is standing on his tower like, fuck you bitches, I mean, come and fucking hit me, bitch. It's fucking great.
Well, because, you know, a lot of interceptions, they always have a pattern. And there's always 1 or 2 points that they don't touch.
Oh yeah, and that one fluctuates like a motherfucker.
Yeah, 1 round, they weren't touching A. So during that round, I captured A, and so I went off and I helped Joe go and the rando we had with us
No.
to keep the other.
Yeah, no.
The guy's game handle was no.
And I'm not talking bad about him. He did pretty well. Yeah, he was down a few times, but he was a good player.
That poor bastard took the D tower, which is always the worst tower on that map. That Jupiter interception, that D tower is always the worst. And my god, he got so overrun with Eximus and Sentience. And he was running, I think he was running Saren. Yeah, I think he did a pretty good fucking job, honestly.
Yeah, with Saren, he did actually a stellar job.
Yeah, he did.
But then the next round would be like, oh no, now they're going after C. Now they're going after C more. So they didn't touch C, so made sure C was captured, and then I went off and helped out. But like Goat just said, they always were going after the D. There for some reason,
they like the AI.
For some reason, the AI that Digital Extremes created for Warframe apparently like D a whole lot.
And it's just not the Archon hunt invasion. I mean, there's been a lot of
the interceptions. Yeah, it always goes after D.
The fucking D.
So looking at this, though, like, this is the forums, just so everybody understands, because like anybody who doesn't understand, go to warframe.com. Even if you're a console player and you're, the only way you can access warframe.com easily is from your cell phone or a laptop or whatever. Go to warframe.com and go to their up here at the little tab. Here, hold on. I don't even know why I have Messenger open. I know why I had Messenger open, because I'm stupid. Here, we'll go to warframe.com. Okay. So up at the top here, you see community forums, right? Go there. Okay, because when you go here, you get into this section and you see feedback. Now this is where they want us to give information. Okay, so the Archon hunt people, giving information. Stop balancing around the top end. Like Joe said, should there be 2? I personally think there should. I think there should be, non-steel path people and then steel path. But I think it should be incentivized a little bit more by, hey, you know what? You get a steel essence. Just 1 steel essence. I think that would be more than enough. 1 steel essence per mission completed. So you could get upwards of 3 steel essence plus what the Archon hunt gives you. I think that would incentivize steel path players to stay on that side of it and not just cheese the easy side. but it would keep it to where the attenuation problem wouldn't be so much of an issue for the lower level players. So I agree with you 100% that there should be like a non-steel pass side and then a steel pass side. So like more like a sortie side, to where the missions start at like 60 and they cap out at 100, and then the steel path that's like 135 to 140, and then 140, or I think it's 130 to 135, and then 135 to 140, and then 145 to 150 is I think how the Archon hunt works out. I think that if you just put like, you know, a 3 potential steel essence, so 1 steel essence per Archon hunt mission that you do, I think that would incentivize the higher level players to go to that side, because that's easy, you know, that's, you're already doing it anyway, so might as well just go into the bullet sponge mission and get a couple of free steel essence just because. But it says, are we being punished for not trying to one-shot bosses now? Conversion of steel path to be Narmer steel path. Interesting. Archon shards, alternate versions, I don't get that one. I'm not reading through all these. Can we stop getting one-shot enemy attacks? Now that is right to Joe's point. Lower level guys going into these fucking high-ass level missions, trying to fight these things, and they're getting one-shotted by a fucking trash unit. Because everything in the Archon hunts is throwing toxin procs.
Yeah, after a few seconds, those tend to hurt.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, even running Neja, fucking running a Naros, I don't give a fuck how tanky your frame is. If you are crazy enough to stand still long enough, you are going to die.
Oh yeah.
Naira boss fight bugs and feedback. Yeah, their monster found a bug on his own. This person says Amber shards are a waste of time. Should shards be tied to your loadout? Yes, they should. That's the whole point. Locked behind RNG or behind time gates, Tau Forge is sadly both. And that's true, but that's the whole point. Just like a sortie has a time frame, arbitrations have a specific time frame, even though arbitrations are on the hour every hour. Sorties are, I think, are like 2.5 days or something like that, or 3 days or whatever. Everything has its own specific time frame. The Archon hunts, because you're picking up a permanent fixture item that you can put on your Warframe. I don't disagree that it should just be a weekly mission. I mean, you know, that's a permanent thing that you're sticking on your frame. So should you just, you know, fucking hand feed out a permanent thing that you can basically just overload the piss out of your fucking builds? No. I think that you should actually be challenged and have to wait, you know, because I think you guys can both agree that I think gamers are like little kids seeing a lollipop. We just want it right now, you know.
Yeah.
So
Archon, it's our money. It's our money. We want it now.
Right, exactly. Archon interception need to be nerfed. Again, to Joe's point, there should be a lower level side and a higher level side, because the higher side of it right now, the what it is right now, yeah, the first pub mission that I ran, oh my god, everybody died. Everybody but me. I was reviving everyone while trying to keep the fucking interception going. I was in a fucking VC with Joe while I was doing it, and he was laughing at me because I was chasing dead bodies all over the map.
And, okay, look. If they're going to keep it the way they are, then yeah, I support that nerf. But if they would actually do and make it 2 different ones, then no, I wouldn't support it being nerfed on a higher level.
Exactamundo. Yeah, like if they were to separate it to a sortie side, like a sortie level side, to where it's like 60 to 70 and then 70 to 80 and then 80 to 100, then build to that accordingly, and that's the lower level side, and then we get the steel path side of it that's higher level, more bullet spongy type and higher, harder hits and things like that. One that Monster absolutely agreed with. Please reduce the visual effects of the Archon fights. Holy fucking Christ, man. Oh my god. If you don't value your eyesight, then that person's statement is completely incorrect. But my god.
Well, and even that, all right. Now look, we can tie that one into the AoE, because part of the AoE buff was because people were going in there and just
blinding everyone.
Blinding everybody.
But then the fight does it for us.
Yeah, now instead of, you buff the AoEs and try to make it to where they don't, people can't just go in there and blind everybody and kill everything. To now we have missions that are just going to completely blind us so we can't see what the hell we're shooting at or what we're doing.
Thank you.
Now, okay, I'm going to admit it first and foremost that I have a very bad tendency of blinding people during missions.
Very, very bad.
Joe, you
But at the
can't
same
talk.
time-
You're fucking pink bubonico. Come on, man. That's
Yeah, you bought it me last night with that shit.
This
But
motherfucker looked like he got like a fucking Nickelodeon splooge cannon of fucking Pepto.
That's
Let's
why
be
I named it Pepto.
let's be honest, he was jizzing Pepto, and little bright side, we didn't get heartburn at the end of at the end of the mission.
Right, no shit.
But for me, I just have a habit of whenever I come up with a color scheme for a Warframe, I just go to the weapons and I hit copy Warframe colors, and 9 times out of 10,
Forget to change the energy.
yes.
Well, but
Now-
see, you and me talked about that though too. About what would be the better way, nerfing the ammo or just nerfing the color?
Nerfing the color would have been the better way to go.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah. If you only give dark colors that aren't going to blind the fuck out of everybody on a goddamn map, that immediately negates the argument of, oh my god, I can't fucking see, these guys are just nuking the map and I can't even
Now-
see what we're supposed to be doing.
I mean, it's not like it would be really hard. You set one particular color for all weapons, and then just don't give the option to change the energy level
Exactly.
or the energy color. Change everything else on your damn frame that you want. Make all the different colors, like my pink fucking ninja. But just on the weapons, make it to where you can't change that freaking color, and there, voila, you've got it.
Now, to add on to that, another route to go could be because, if you look, and for any of the new players, if you look in the options to the graphic setting, you have the option to turn down pretty much almost everything.
Yeah, but okay, so to that point though, in the options, if you turn it down, like something I want to say it was the Kengineer who brought this up. But you can, like, he actually suggested that as far as the community complaint to the AoEs blinding other players and things, instead of turning down the overall visuals of a map, because that's the only option that we have is to turn down the overall visual explosions and things like that on the map, which we can do, but that turns that down for yourself. That also turns that down for your abilities too. So like if you have abilities that you need to visually see, like let's say for Octavia, you need to see the little flashies if you can't hear very well, because you don't like listening to the thumpy thumps of the music all the fucking time. So if you don't want to listen to the thumpy thumps, you need the visuals with the timer so you know when to do your little fucking, spam crouch thing and blah, blah, blah. So what the Kengineer suggested was actually segregate it to where you could take it from, instead of it being inclusive to everybody, you could turn down, squad members' energies. That way you don't see so much of the squad members, but you can still see what you're doing. And then they can do the same. So you can have whatever fuck colors you want and won't be blinding the fuck out of everybody, because from their perspective, it'll be turned down and no big deal. Like, I think that's an all-inclusive thing that could be done too, easily.
Yeah. But then you're going to get people bitching, because then you've got to go into your options and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. To
well, yeah, but I mean, there's always those that are bitching about being hung over the new rope. So, like this one, I think we all giggled at. DE, consider using the existing things in combat instead of adding new things. Well, what the fuck is the point of a game growing if you just keep using the same crap? Like,
I want new guns. I want new melees. I want new, new secondaries, new frames.
yeah, and I want new mission types. Like the Void Flood. How much fucking goofy fun do we have with that stupid little Skitter girl, or whatever I call her, Skittle girl? What the fuck? That little Skitter girl that's always robbing the shit out of us. That's fucking fun. Trying to stay away from that little ghost bitch.
Yeah, you're all by yourself in this airman, and all of a sudden you hear that little giggle behind you, and you're looking over your damn shoulder, making sure you don't see a ghost child running at you at full fucking speed.
But at the same time, on the other end, how often are we complaining that when you're doing missions that you get the same tile set? You've ran that tile set so damn much that you know where everything's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's actually that was actually a big complaint a month into the Angels of the Zariman, is that the Angels of the Zariman tile set, I think there's only 5 possible tiles that you could possibly get, and they're all the same rooms, they're just in a different order. Which is pretty much every tile set to a point. Like when the Deadlock Protocol, because Matt can attest to this one, the old Corpus ship tile sets were like trash. There was like 3 total. And it was just like, there was like one good area when you were doing survivals where you could use that was fun, and then the rest was just kind of bleh. And when they went to the Deadlock Protocol, although they mix and match the shit out of it, there's about 11 different variants of the Corpus ships now, which at least gives you, you're not going to go through a door and know exactly what the fuck you're getting into. And I think that's a big problem with the Zeraman, is that you've got a 1 in 3 shot of knowing what the fuck's on the other side of every door you go through. You know?
Now,
no, go ahead.
I've stated before, and I'm gonna say it again. Yeah, I got very salty when I heard about the nerfing of the AoEs and all that, because I'm a big AoE fan. But DE nerfing everything is not the way to go.
Oh, we'll get to that. Oh, we'll get to that. Yeah, because see, we've got 11 pages, and we're not even going to go on all 11 pages. We're only going to look at the first page of all these. But, like, so we see the Archon, though. The Archon stuff is basically mixed, right? Some people love it, some people hate it, some people are asking for it to be nerfed, some are saying that the shards are crap, or that they should be all-inclusive for every frame, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that's the case, because every frame is different, you know? So I think every frame should have its own accessibility. So, yeah, farm the shit.
They found a good base. They found a good base for the Archon hunts. It's got a phenomenal base.
Yeah.
But there is still very, very much room for improvement. You just got to try to find the balance.
See, like
and just like the Archon shot. Okay, the Archon shots. Like last night when we was running it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now when you run in a squad, here, you know, usually when one player picks up something in the squad, the entire squad gets it as long as you're in affinity range.
Well, to a point. I mean, like Railjack and the Void Plumes and then Syndicate medallions are now... The Void Plumes and Syndicate medallions came with... was it Veilbreaker or Tenocon? I think it was Veilbreaker. No, it was before Veil. It had to have been Tenocon. It had to be one of the hot fixes after Tenocon when they did that.
Yeah, but even in that, when one of the players picks up a Void Plume, as long as you're in affinity range anymore, now you get it.
Oh, you get it regardless. It's just like Railjack. I could be on one of the Grenier ships, and you could be on the Railjack, and if I collect carbides, you get them too.
Yeah.
So the Void Plumes are the same way.
Which they should have done with the Archon. Because now, you know, you have to run around and try to get the Archon shards, and...
Oh, you're talking about the cores?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't disagree with that. Given the tile set sizes, they're all like basically, as far as like especially the defense or the interception. Yeah, if one person collects an intact core, I think everybody ought to get it. I don't disagree with that. You know, rather than everybody running all over the map and not staying on their towers because everybody's trying to collect all the fucking intact cores. Granted, I've got those things falling out of my ass, so I wasn't worried about it. But for guys like you know, it's a good thing for you to have plenty because you still have plenty of fucking arcanes to get.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, for you, you're like, bro, give me these, man. I gotta go run all over the fucking map for these babies.
And how many times was I doing that last night and ended up down because I was trying to go after the shards?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I agree. So, but that's just the Archon, right? So then we go into ammo changes. Now, this is the one that I covered last night. And the base function behind this, there's 8 pages of this. Thank God it still hasn't gone up because, Christ, it'd be crazy. At a minimum, on each one of these pages, I was just talking to the guys before we hit record, there's at least 3 posts in every fucking page bitching and complaining, and I mean almost to the point of being rude and fuck off about primary and secondary merciless losing the ammo buff. Now, I counted through the weapons in the game, and there are a potential of 93 weapons that are possibly affected because primary merciless was the ammo buff was nerfed. And what I'm speaking on is, and I know I've showed it before, but we'll just cover it real quick again. What I'm speaking on specifically is that primary merciless, the whole point in doing it was to get the stackable damage to cap out at the 30% for 4 seconds and stacking up to times 12. Well, with the AoE ammo nerf, now the damage stack doesn't even matter because you run out of ammo most of the time before you can get to the full damage stack. So it's whatever. The plus reload speed comes as a bonus when you get it to rank 5. The other rank 5 bonus that used to exist was having 100% ammo max capacity. Now, what they did in this ammo nerf was that they took away... They nerfed down the amount of ammo that you could collect with an AoE weapon. They also nerfed down the actual capacity of said AoE weapons. So even if you double a nerfed weapon, it's still not going to have very much ammo, and it still can't collect very much ammo. So what the fuck is the point in removing the 100% ammo capacity? Because then it affects a shit ton of single target weapons. And why I say this is specifically because, like with Matt, he loves his AoE weapons. And there's nothing wrong with that because he's not that automated style player. He just likes to, kind of stay in an area, blow up enemies, go collect the loot, run around, kind of target practice motherfuckers with the Brahma or the fucking Envoy, really try to arc shots and kind of do trick shit with his fucking thing. I do it too sometimes too, I'm not gonna lie. But
all I gotta say is that one mission with TheSallaD where I shot down a 3-door hallway and made the thing bank right and killed about 20 infested.
Well, yeah, because he was at the end of that hallway and was just like, what the fuck was that? So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, you like your AoE weapons. Joe is in between you and me. He likes some AoEs, but he's really into like the shotguns. He likes minimalistic radial attack kinds of damage, but for the most part, it's more into single target weapons, and I really love my single target weapons. Like, I like a few AoEs, but I primarily like single target weapons. So, except for my glaives. So, in the grand scheme of things, we've got 3 different sides of this argument, and all 3 of us are hurting with some of our weapons because of that stupid arcane nerf.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm more bitched about it because of the ammo.
Well, yeah, but I mean, again, from the perspective of the challenge, right? The whole point behind any game is to always present a challenge to its players, And at the end of the day, if you don't challenge the players to do their absolute best in the mission, it kind of loses its luster after a while. You kind of sit there and walk around kind of meandering mindlessly in the game, to where something like, nerfing the ammo down and actually forcing you to go into a secondary or a melee while you go collect ammunition for your AoE weapon isn't really a bad thing per se. But like what kills me is like, they nerfed the Brahma, they nerfed the Ogress, they nerfed the Kuvazar, the Tonkor, which I don't even understand the Tonkor because it already had minimalistic ammo anyway, and not very many people use it because it's just not that amazing, but whatever. They nerfed quite a few weapons, but they didn't nerf the Tenet Tetra's alt fire, and it's a big boom. They didn't nerf the Trumna's alt fire, and it's a big fucking boom. And then they buffed the ammo pickup on the Archiplasmor, which does it does really, in reality, more damage than a fucking AoE weapon does. But the Archiplasmor, the Tenet Archiplasmor, still has problems keeping up with ammo because all you have is a max 40 ammo unless you start modding to put large mag capacity on there, which then takes away from the function of the fucking weapon. So it's like, we're all sitting here looking and hearing about the complaints from other people with the ammo, and we're like, what? Why'd you do this? You just hurt everything in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they nerfed the AoE so that people that were using sniper rifles and stuff like that had better chance at doing what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're taking away from a large majority of the players that like AoE or use AoE on certain frames, to where now they just don't play it. I mean,
oh yeah, there's just,
let's be honest, since this all come out,
who's seen a Wukong running dual Zars?
Yeah, well, and me and you have both seen it. How many times are you going in on public and nobody's showing up?
Yeah,
on anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of pissed off community right now. A lot of pissed off community.
Where it was before, I didn't care what mission you were doing. If you ran public, you were getting a full squad.
Yep.
Now you're hoping to get a full squad and getting 1 or 2 people because they're just not playing it.
Yeah, because the meta of the games, especially when the Steel Path released, they nerfed the AoE weapon ammo counts as it was. But then the complaint came that the melees were doing more damage than the primaries or secondaries were. So when the Steel Path released, they brought in the arcanes, so specifically primary and secondary merciless, giving you a buff to damage, buff to reload speed, and then buff overall to your ammo capacity. And that in itself made it to where you didn't have to mod for base damage, but could. but gave your primaries and your secondaries back the looter shooter side of things, shooter being part of the tags of this game. This game is a looter shooter or PvE MMO style game, and when you nerf the game this fucking badly, all of a sudden the shooter side of the game becomes kind of a joke. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, like this guy right here, like I understand the Kuvazar is a very, very popular weapon. Okay, it really is, because it's very powerful. And this guy's point, Zar totally ruined after this update, same as ammo mutation, 40,000 endo and 5 formas down the drain. Now that just tells you that this guy was a hardcore, AoE Zar user. Could have been a dual Wukong kind of setup, don't know. But regardless, that was this guy's preferable playstyle, and they absolutely murdered his playstyle because. But it's like I said in that video that I posted, well, the one thing Warframe players that I've seen ever since I started playing is that we adapt, we evolve, and we overcome. So every time something gets nerfed, we figure out how to go back and break the game again. We just always do. But this particular nerf is so fucking big and so broad. Like Joe is 100% right on this one. Yeah, I personally, doing the Archon hunts alone, I was having problems, and the Archon hunts are the big bag, new shiny for everybody to go after, and I was having problems getting full squads for the Archon hunts.
Yep.
Like, that's insane. When you have a brand new release thing that's only been out for 3 fucking weeks, and you can't even get full squads to fucking run it at good fucking prime hours to run the missions, and people aren't joining just because they don't want to fucking do the missions because their weapons that they're using, they're running out of ammo and they can't fucking defeat things, and the attenuation of the boss is ridiculous. It's just like, what in the fuck? What in the hell are they doing to this? And that's been the argument. And then we go into the breaking armor. I mean, like, hell, like Joe said, where are we supposed to find this? The first fucking thing posted 1 hour. No new armor break mission this week, or what? Because nobody knows where to find that information. Can we get a timer for the next available mission? Well, there is one actually, but whatever. 5 kills in 3 seconds. This call seems a bit impossible, or at least too hard. And you know what? If it wouldn't have been for me finding the Kawaka kill thing, yeah, that's no joke. They're trying to bottleneck them without fucking, unveiling a bunch of guys and parking them across the map somewhere and then getting a bunch of Braculas to fucking come and attack you so you can throw grenades at them. Yeah, that 5 kill thing was kind of interesting. I'll give him that. Breaking armor has a place, but probably shouldn't be mandatory in order to gain access to new weapons. I kind of agree with that to a point. I think you should have at least a couple of locations you could get it, but whatever. Bring those drops from Archon hunt bosses. That is a good idea. When you're doing the Archon hunts, potentially get a weapon drop in the drop table instead of just having to do the call missions, because some people just don't like the funky thing of the call missions. I've seen a lot of that one. Call ignores field of view setting. I've noticed that one. Let's see here. Bad mission design. I kind of agree with that in some ways.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Week 2 call mission. If Chipper wasn't selling weekly shard, would you even run these? It's a valid question though. Like, if you could farm this stuff from other places, would you have any incentive whatsoever to do the call missions?
Not really.
Matt, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I was out of it.
No, you're fine. If you had a way to farm the Aphentis and the Agrit and that new shitty machete and then Styanex, if you had another location to farm it other than just going through the call missions, would you do the call missions?
Probably not.
Exactly. So I agree that putting them in other locations is probably a good idea, like the Archon hunts. I think that's a great idea, actually, but, call me stupid. But, like, there's been so much of this, convoluted lack of fucking information going on. And I think all of us, like, my entire point of doing this vlog is specifically down to the point of showing the perspective of, we've got an AoE player, a single weapon, a single fire, or a single target weapon user, And then we've got a newer player stance that's kind of in between. And all three of us are seeing the same fucking thing. That's got to say a lot to game design. I think it really does. I think, you know, I'm the, most of the clan, I think both these guys can agree. Everybody calls me the murderous tinkerer, you know, because I just dick around. I just fuck around with weapons and builds and frame, you know, modding and everything. I waste so much form trying to figure shit out sometimes.
Hey, and we thank you for that, because then it makes it easier for us to go in and know exactly, you know, we need to put more format in this.
Right, exactly. Well, okay. See, you guys can attest to this. In my Discord that you guys are in right now, do I not have an entire tutorial build section completely set up in there for you guys to blueprint?
Yeah.
I've got screenshots of everything I fucking use that's in there for these guys to look at and go, okay, well, I can try that, and if I don't like it, I'll just dick around with it, you know, but at least gives you an idea of what this thing can do.
All the way from frames to fucking melees and...
Yeah, companions, fucking arc wings, the whole shebang. But yeah, I mean, when we've got a guy who's been playing this game for 11 and a half months, got another guy who's been playing for 2.5 years, and he's an AoE user and kind of a tank frame guy, and then we've got somebody like me that's more of a single target weapon guy who has really kind of started leaning more towards ability usage and a lot more towards, you know, like I'm still more of a tank frame guy. I really am. I'm kind of that retarded idiot jumping, going ham into fucking missions and getting myself damn near killed half the time. But I've really kind of started leaning into a lot more ability usage, and doing that when we have three completely different perspectives of approaching this game, and all three of us are literally looking at the game in the same way, going, how drunk were they when they did this? I mean,
I'll be drunker than I am right now.
Right. I'm just like, that's my thing, is I'm like, oh my God. You know, like, I'm debating about putting a link to this in Reddit, because the Warframe bot and the Warframe devs also look at the Warframe Reddit page, and dropping a link to this video in there, and hopefully maybe they'll see this and kind of understand that they're not listening to their community. Do I think that the ammo nerf is a terrible idea? No. Do I think that changing the meta of the game to be a little bit more even-keeled, to balance everything out to where everybody kind of has a good chance at doing something that they want to do I think that's a bad thing? No. You know? But do I think that over nerfing the fuck out of the game to completely force a complete sea change of how we all approach the game, I think that's a bit extreme.
Oh, it is. And, you know, we've talked about it before. When they changed the ammo to where it's just now primary and secondary, you don't have the shotgun or the rifle or any of that. You know, we've all spent time, and, you know, Matt has spent money, you know, buying mods and stuff so that we can pick up, you know, like the ammo mutation and shit like that. Now, I had you know, I bitched about it for a minute, but I don't mind the primary and secondary change.
Yeah.
To where you get everything in just one drop. I don't even mind that they spaced it out a little bit on how much, you know, how they drop it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they need to put it to where you get a little bit more, especially with the AoEs, where you can get a higher buff in the ammo capacity.
Yes.
You know, if you're going to do that, at least give the AoE guys, you know, like the Kuva Brahma, you got 5 shots.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're going to nerf it like they did, bump them up to 10 shots.
Yeah.
At least give them a chance to be able to get the shit. Since you're putting it spaced farther apart on how they drop, at least give them a chance to be able to use the weapon and shit, and still be able to get.
Well, and nerfed on how much they can pick up. You know, because like the Kuva Brahma specifically is only allowed to pick up 1 ammo. So it's like you have to get, if you fire out 9 rounds, you've got to pick up 9 ammo boxes. So it's like trying to build up a 12 stack with primary merciless is just useless with the Kuva Brahma. Now, are you going to build up more damage? Sure. Are you going to build up more than the base damage can give you? Sure. But does primary merciless really work for that AoE weapon now? Not really. Not in its full extent. And that's if it had the ammo capacity back on primary merciless. Without the ammo capacity, the most you're going to get is 5 stacks, and then you're out of ammo, and it's just going to fucking fall apart after 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's just like, meh, whatever. You might as well mod for fucking base damage again and just not even use that arcane. You know, and maybe that's what they're shooting for. I don't know, but it seems like a it seems like they dropped a hammer on a hammer on a fucking anvil, trying to fix a fucking problem, when the problem is glass. You know, like they're trying to shatter something rather than hammer it back into place. So,
Yeah, and then they try to hide this shit. I mean,
yeah,
they
because
put it in Reddit forum that let's be honest, a quarter of the players you use.
oh, at most, yeah, at most. Well, okay, like we talked about at TennoCon, and then we talked about with their DevStream 163 when they were talking about when that Veilbreaker was going to release in September. We were excited about this, and then when the Veilbreaker dropped, literally nowhere in any of the patch notes or hot fixes has anything been said about primary or secondary merciless in itself. Nowhere. You can search it up yourselves, folks. They don't say a fucking thing, and the one thing that they said that drives all of us nuts is the fact that the phrase that they said during DevStream 163 is we want to be upfront and honest with our community.
Yeah, and that was after that they had, they took down what 3 of your posts?
Two.
Deleted them?
They took
Two
two
of
of them. Yeah, two of them.
And there were I was watching that dev stream. About every other person was complaining about them deleting messages and deleting things because it wasn't what they wanted to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where I think this kind of ham-fisted approach at things is really going to cost them a lot more than they realize. You know, I really do. I think that if they keep up this hard knocks approach at things, I think they're going to find that it's going to kick them in their asses collectively. So, I don't know. But I think this has probably absorbed enough of our time. What do you think?
Yeah, I got missions to be running.
Right? Exactly. See, we're ready to kill stuff, even with the nerfs.
I got assholes to kill.
So, folks, we thank you very much for checking this out. Hopefully you just, again, take this with a grain of salt. You know, we're not trying to be salty and shitty and hateful about DE, but at the same time, it's just one of those, like, for God's sakes, if they would just listen to the community and fix just a couple of fucking things, I think the majority of the community would actually kind of return to a level of happiness and kind of at least evolve and overcome and just adapt to what the fuck is going on, rather than just going, well, you know what, fuck this game, I'll go play Destiny. You know? So that's my take. You guys got anything else you want to say?
Just if they see this, quit fucking hiding shit from us.
Right.
Exactly. It's like I've learned to evolve with the nerfs and all that, and I'm still just as destructive as I've ever been in the game. Just had to do a few things a little differently.
Yeah.
But what pisses me off in the end is just the transparency of the developers with the community. They're not being transparent. They're not being honest. They're being, especially like from deleting some comments about some of the negativity.
Yeah, stuff that's not even worded negatively. That's the thing.
Yeah, like some of the negative comments I've seen over the last month and a half I think not all of them, but some of them are justified, and they were still deleted. So, I think, in my way, DE needs to take 2 tablespoons of cement and harden the hell up a little bit. They need to be transparent and honest with their community. Actually, take the criticism. If majority of the community is saying something as negative, they need to sit there and be like, okay, obviously this is a problem. How do we fix it? And instead of trying to rush it, actually go in and come up with an actual game plan on how to fix it. And not only that, one of the games I play every now and then, The Isle, which is similar to Warframe as far as gameplay.
Yeah.
And every time I go in there, there's always a message of the day for the servers. Like, hey, we're going to be doing this, so this might not work. Or, they actually inform you of what's going on, what they're doing, and that something may either be a little buggy at first or something that may not be available.
Yeah. But at least let us know.
Exactly. So, Warframe, you might want to contact the developers of the Isle and actually learn how to take criticism properly. That's just my opinion.
I love it. So, all right. Well, we're gonna get off here. So, thanks very much for watching, folks. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one. All right.